so mature for your age. You smiled more, cried less, and learned to read the room before you even spoke. You became the emotional thermostat of the household. As growing up, some children are asked to carry more than they should, to fix problems, soothe pain, hold everyone together, when they should have been held. The small joys of childhood, the games, the mistakes, the freedom to simply be, are stolen from them. And the echo of that childhood lingers, following them into adulthood, shaping who they become and how they move through the world. What does it mean to grow up too fast? How does a childhood of responsibility ripple into a lifetime? Let's explore that. Chapter 1. The Parentified Child. Parentification doesn't arrive with a sudden moment. It begins in the everyday, in responsibilities that feel natural at first. Maybe your parents struggled emotionally, financially, mentally, and you became their steady one, the one they could always lean on. You listened when no one else would, soothed anger, kept the peace. A parent is sick, distracted, or overwhelmed, and suddenly the child becomes the caretaker. You keep secrets for parents, avoid disappointments, take charge of siblings, or manage small adult responsibilities that no one your age should have to think about. You learn to prioritize everyone else's needs above their own. You carry adult burdens. Slowly, you learn to put everyone else's needs before your own. At first, it felt good, like you mattered, like your calm could hold everything together. But beneath that, you were learning a dangerous lesson, that love had to be earned through usefulness. And when that belief sinks in early, it follows you everywhere. Some children never get to just be children. This is parentification, being expected to perform and be responsible in ways far beyond one's age. The child learns early that their value lies in adequacy, in keeping things running smoothly. And while that can create remarkable competence and maturity, it comes with a cost. The inner life of the child gets postponed or suppressed. The habits, beliefs, and coping mechanisms formed in those years follow you into adulthood, shaping how you live, how you love, how you trust. And the more that you carried their weight, the more you noticed how fragile everything really was. Chapter 2. Early Lessons in Fear and Control. When you were expected to manage more than you should, fear became a constant companion. Fear of mistakes, fear of disappointment, fear that one misstep could bring consequences far heavier than a child should bear. As adults, this fear often turns into perfectionism, indecision, or chronic procrastination. You hesitate to try new things, anxious that failure might define you. Even when you succeed, the fear lingers, whispering that nothing you do is ever enough. This constant vigilance teaches another lesson: control equals safety. You learned early that the world was unpredictable and that your calm could prevent disaster. But that hypervigilance comes at a cost. Relaxation feels unsafe. Your nervous system expects tension, and calm moments can feel suspicious, even threatening. Do you notice how small decisions can feel like high stakes, or how downtime brings guilt instead of relief? These are the subtle footprints of a childhood where the world depended on your competence. And yet, this fear also gave you tools. You became observant, sensitive to others' needs, and capable of handling responsibility beyond your years. The challenge is learning to separate what you must do for survival from what nourishes you as an adult. Over time, that lesson in fear and control shaped your relationship with others, the dependence you allowed, or the lack of it. Chapter 3. Hyper-independence. Many adults who grew up too quickly carry a deep sense of self-reliance. You solve problems alone, rarely asking for help, even when overwhelmed. Vulnerability feels risky, a luxury you were never afforded. You might feel guilty for taking time for yourself, as if rest were a weakness. Over time, this self-reliance can drain your body, mind, and sense of joy. This hyper-independence can be a shield, but it can also isolate. It protects you from disappointment, yet it can make forming deep, trusting connections difficult. You are strong in ways few understand, but that strength often comes at the expense of ease, spontaneity, and connection. And yet, that same strength is remarkable. It has carried you through crises, enabled you to meet challenges others would falter at, and kept families afloat. But it comes with the cost of solitude, the loneliness of being relied upon before you are even ready. You might notice how hard it is to let someone else carry a load, even briefly. That's the habit of a child who was asked to carry more than they could. Learning to accept help, to trust that others can hold you safely, is a lifelong process. When you pause, even for a moment, you might sense that this independence, while protective, has also limited the depth of your intimacy and the ease of your joy. But even here there is a gentle promise. The habits that once protected you can be reshaped into strength that supports connection rather than isolation. And as independence became your default, another pattern took root: the need to earn love by meeting everyone else's expectations. Chapter 4. People-pleasing and earning love. Children who grow up too fast often learn early that being needed is the path to affection. A parent's attention may hinge on how well they manage tasks, control emotions, or keep everyone happy. This teaches the belief that love must be earned. As adults, you carry this lesson forward. You overperform. You say yes when we want to say no, monitor yourself for approval, and measure your worth by usefulness rather than just being. This drive to please can turn into overachievement. You push yourself relentlessly, striving for perfection in school, work, or relationships, but over time, the constant pressure can catch up. The same habits that earned love as a child can leave you exhausted, burned out, or feeling like you've fallen short despite your accomplishments. And yet, beneath this striving, there's often a hollow ache. Genuine connection becomes entangled with performance, leaving us exhausted, and the very relationships we hoped would nurture us may feel transactional. Have you noticed how easy it is to prioritize others while quietly sidelining your own needs? That instinct was survival, not flaw. Understanding this helps to untangle the pattern, creating space for authenticity in your relationships. Even small acts of reclaiming self-interest, a morning to yourself, a hobby pursued for joy, slowly teach your nervous system that you are enough without proving it. Chapter 5. Emotional exhaustion. Constant responsibility and self-surveillance are exhausting. We burn out physically, emotionally, spiritually. Tasks pile up, deadlines press, and still we chase perfection or try to keep everyone else steady. The mind races, guilt pulses, anxiety rises. Yet, in this exhaustion lies resilience. The same child who learned to survive by carrying burdens has endurance beyond measure. Strength emerges, often unnoticed, powering through challenges that would overwhelm others. But the part of you that was silenced in childhood waits to be heard. That voice might be soft at first, a longing to rest, to play, to be seen, but it carries wisdom. It reminds you that strength does not demand sacrifice of the self. When you finally slow down, it can feel disorienting, like your body doesn't know what to do without urgency. Stillness may even feel unsafe at first, as if resting means losing purpose. But in that pause, something begins to shift. You start to realize that rest isn't the absence of strength. Recognizing this allows you to see the balance between resilience and restoration, effort and ease. You can honor your capacities without letting them define your value. Chapter 6. Lost Playfulness and Creativity. A hurried childhood often comes at the cost of play, unstructured time, creative exploration, the freedom to wander and imagine and embrace whimsy. These were stolen from children expected to grow up fast. As adults, this absence shows subtly but profoundly. Hobbies feel like tasks. Leisure feels wasted. Our ability to think outside the box or embrace spontaneity can be muted. Yet there is hope. By intentionally carving space for play, creativity, and rest, we begin to recover what was lost. A simple walk, an unplanned sketch, a game played for joy. These small acts reconnect us with the inner child who still exists, waiting for acknowledgement. Reconnecting with that part of yourself is indulgence in its truest form, a reclamation. It teaches you that your life can include wonder, curiosity, and delight alongside responsibility. Your inner child is your first home. Go back and visit. Chapter 7. Recognizing Patterns in Adulthood. Growing up too fast leaves lasting imprints. Perfectionism, hyperindependence, emotional fatigue, difficulty trusting others, and blurred boundaries are common threads. We may overgive to prove worth or push people away to protect ourselves, often without realizing why. Recognizing these patterns isn't about blame. It's about understanding the survival strategies that kept us safe as children. Awareness creates choice. When you pause to notice these habits, you open a door to gentleness, a chance to respond differently rather than react automatically. Take a moment to reflect. Do you notice yourself overextending in some relationships while withdrawing in others? Do small decisions feel heavy because you've learned to bear weight silently for so long? These patterns are familiar, but they are not permanent. Understanding them allows you to respond with intention. You can start setting limits, saying no, and choosing presence in a way that doesn't deplete you. Slowly, the child who once had no choice begins to guide the adult self in healthier, more nurturing ways. Chapter 8. Healing the Inner Child. Healing begins with acknowledgement. The inner child who carried too much deserves compassion, space, and care. Moments of play and rest repair the parts of you that were postponed. Even small moments, like drawing without purpose, dancing alone, or letting yourself laugh freely, reconnect you with that part of yourself that was postponed. Healing doesn't erase the past, but it allows the child within to breathe. It reminds you that your feelings, desires, and needs are valid. The part of you that was silenced is still there, waiting for recognition, not judgment. As you nurture this inner child, boundaries begin to make sense. They are not walls to keep others out. They are gentle markers that preserve your peace. They allow the strength you built as a child to serve you rather than control you. Pause and ask yourself, when was the last time you gave yourself permission to simply exist, without expectation? The answer may reveal the depth of your postponed childhood and the possibilities for reclaiming it. Chapter 9. Setting Boundaries and Reclaiming Self. Boundaries are the bridge between survival and thriving. They let the world know where you end and others begin. For adults who grew up too fast, saying no can feel dangerous. It can stir guilt, fear of disappointment, or anxiety over being perceived as selfish. But boundaries aren't rejection. They are self-respect in action. When you practice limits, you engage fully rather than exhaust yourself. You are no longer performing for approval, you are choosing presence intentionally. This transforms the lessons of childhood strength into adult wisdom, turning endurance into sustainable resilience. Reflect for a moment. Which areas of your life feel heavy because you carry too much? Which relationships drain you because the pattern of overgiving persists? Each boundary you set is a step toward aligning your adult life with your authentic self, rather than repeating the habits of your hurried childhood. Chapter 10. Integration and Understanding. Coming home to yourself is a lifelong journey. The child who grew up too fast leaves traces in every decision, every relationship, every feeling. But integration, honoring the child, the adult, the strengths, and the vulnerabilities, creates wholeness. In this wholeness, freedom appears, the freedom to play, rest, receive care, set limits, and connect authentically. You learn to see yourself without judgment, with compassion. And those who remain in your life after this transformation are not there for convenience. They stay because they recognize the whole, resilient, radiant person you've become. Childhood may have been hurried, but understanding allows you to move at your own pace. You are allowed to pause, to breathe, to care for yourself, and to let others meet you where you are, not where the child once needed to be. Every act of self-compassion, every boundary, every moment of play or rest is a quiet reclamation of a life that was once rushed. It is an invitation to live fully, with your inner child honored and your adult self empowered. Childhood may have been hurried, but understanding allows you to move at your own pace. If this helped you see yourself a little clearer, stay a while and watch this next video.